Okay, this is a way, you're in the wood shop. I might make some mistakes. I'm in the process of getting a lot of lessons up, but these are not, I don't program my lessons. I just kind of do it on the fly, and I show people things that they come out of my head, things that I've kind of mishmashed between what I've learned from other people. Okay? What I'm going to do today is go over the, it sounds boring, but as you get into jazz and you get into any kind of music, basically, standard Western music, you're going to somehow run into your minors, okay? And minors can sound very pleasing, you know. Now you also have what's called Dorian. That's a different story. But your basic minors that are basically, here let's go with C, D, E flat, F, G. Okay? Pretend you're in a class with me, okay? Now, the melodic minor, the first 5 notes are, okay, and the harmonic minor, first 5 notes are, class, what 5 notes don't change? Right there. Right there. The first 5. So that means you only have a choice of another 4 notes, because you can't, this is the octave, okay? So, now let's think of what we want, okay? Let's think of, let's do the one that is really the easiest. Okay, here's the C scale, right? Okay, now what a melodic minor is, think of the melody, and think of the melody, and just to make this up as I go, think of the melody of C, the C scale. I do it faster than anybody. Okay, that's just a joke. Okay, but I mean that's what Jerry Lee Lewis did. He would be, kicking along on something, and then he would go like this, like that. And basically, he was playing a G mixolydian. It was the notes that came out of the C scale, and basically playing on a G, like that, But forget all that. Going back to this original thing, let's focus in again, okay? If I do the notes of C to B, and that is the B scale. That's the mother of this whole thing. White keys are the key that this thing is tuned to, okay? This thing is this instrument, beautiful instrument. It's called a piano. It was originally called a pianoforte, which means soft, loud, okay? Here we go. Now, if I make this chord, this scale here, and I told you that the C, D, E, flat, F, G don't change. Okay? So all 3, that's the melodic minor, that's the melodic minor, the harmonic minor, and the natural minor. Okay? And this takes a long time to explain, but when you write this down or something, after you do this for just a little bit, you've got it for the rest of your life, as long as your memory holds out. My memory's kind of going down. I'm like 60 years of age. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. C, D, E flat, F, G. Okay, now that stays the same. Now, if we're doing this, those notes, as we recognize, are the notes out of the C scale. So, essentially, what you do is you take this and add in A, B, C. That's simple. That's called the melodic minor. Like there. And you can come back down this way, too. I hadn't done my scales lately. Okay? But anyways, and then what you do is then you add that. So you add the ABC. Okay? So now these notes here, all these notes will stay the same. Melodic minor, you just continue on with the major scale. This is C major scale at the tail end of this. Okay? Now, the next thing is keep the same notes. this is the notes for the, we're going to call it, let's do the natural minor. Okay, natural minor is called, the notes of the natural minor are called the, they are the, essentially the Aeolian scale. They were named after the Greek city-states. Okay, that's not important right now. To me it isn't. Okay, so now if you do E flat, okay, it is the sixth mode. It's named that the C is the sixth note of some scale. How can I say that? It didn't come out right. And that scale is E flat. That's correct. Okay. Okay. So that tells you if this is sixth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So if that's the sixth note, that means we are playing the Aeolian scale. But the Aeolian scale came out of the E flat scale, which is E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. But the key thing to remember that if you take if you say, okay, that's E flat scale, well, that's kind of hard to remember. Well, you know, after you've done it like a million times, I've done it a million times, but a lot of times, if I go here and I say, well, E flat scale, let's look at how it differs from the C scale. Okay, those are the notes right there. Okay, those notes. So I take and I don't have an E natural. I have an E flat. I have an F. Okay, I have a G because okay, and I don't have an A. I don't have a B. I have an A flat and a B flat. And I naturally, if I have a B flat, I'm not going to have a B. So C. Okay, so I can do this. Okay, so that's called the Aeolian or natural minor scale. One more of the three main majors. We're not counting Dorians or anything like that, and that's for an advanced topic. Okay, so if now I go like, okay, so I got one left, so I move this over here. Now let's see, what do I need to do? I need to think, what is it? It's called a harmonic. And why it's called a harmonic, I don't know. But thought you're going to know that when you, okay, I read it somewhere and I can't remember what it is. But it has like a snake charming sound to it. It does this at the end of this minor. That's the that's the first five notes. They're the same. Whether it's, we already went over that. Okay, so now I know that there's got to be something different about it. Okay, it can't be what we've already had. It can't be an A, B, C. It can't be an A flat, B flat. Okay, for the first last three notes or this. I can go like this. Okay. That's where I have an A flat and a B flat. A flat, B flat, E flat. That comes out of the E flat scale. Okay? So that is the natural minor. So it can't be using these two notes. Okay? Because you're taking the A and you're flatting that, and you're taking the B and you're flatting that. Okay? And then you can't use a C because you already used it. 7 notes. Okay? So now, can I use, so I'm going to end the thing. I'm going to say, I'm going to give you the one thing that this will definitely have. It will have a leading tone, B, going up to C. So it has the major seventh. Why is that the major seventh? 7, okay? Major 7 up to the 8th, which is repeating octave. Repeating note on an octave. Okay? So now, this whole thing is going to sound like this. You ever ever feel like maybe you got a cobra sitting there about to strike or something like that? You got that? So that's a real cool thing. But now the next thing is, how did I get that? Well, first of all, I gave you a clue. That's the leading tone. Okay? Now, if you take that and you say, okay, well, I know it's got to be, one of these has got to be replaced, so what we need to do? Well, here's what would happen. Let's try doing it like this. Watch this. That doesn't sound like anything, does it? There's like these. It's just weird, okay? So that's one way you can do it, okay? So let's eliminate that one. So we only have one other one. It has to be this one. So harmonic is the one with the G flat and A flat, or it's also called the F sharp and G sharp, okay? So we go. So that way, if you have any questions, there are like probably 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways to teach this. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to show you what it's like to figure this out. This is called the woodshed. Go back to my woodsheds. And you figure things out. What if all of a sudden, you know, for some reason you're stranded on an island, you got a guitar or a piano or a ukulele or something, but you have no way. How do I remember what that was? And by the way, when you're soloing, you essentially are on that island because you're on there by yourself. You better remember things, and you got to practice things. And if you're doing a lot of things that have to do with minor scales, you got to know them. You got to know them more or less inside and outside. And what would be important about doing this? Okay. Okay. So I can. Okay. Now I can go and I can start doing some weird stuff with it. So not really weird, but as you do more and more, you'll see that, hey, this right here. Okay, that's enough for right now.